Hello. Here we are for day number 2. So this is Queen School training or pre-training number 2. And today we are doing balancing your boss mode with your queen energy. So what does that really mean? At the end of the day, what we're going to be talking about today is how do you balance within yourself your own polarity? How do you balance your own desire for masculine drive with your desire for feminine fulfillment? And how you gain mastery of the nuanced balance between those is what creates polarity, spark, desire, chemistry within a relationship. So you can be a badass mofo at business. You can be a top level CEO. You can run your kids and your household like a supreme, I want to say CEO again. But if you don't balance that masculine drive, that masculine desire, and this is often a jumping point for women to consider that being a mother is a masculine energy art form. Because mother is an archetype of one of the 3 main archetypes within the feminine, often what happens is that we mix up the skill set, which is just a mix up of the understanding of the polarity of feminine and masculine as it exists within you. Just moving you a smidge closer to me. There we go. So, why that's important is because anytime you are in the role of leadership, you are leading others on a process, you are leading your children through their day, you are leading the flow of the day, the activities, you are the master of vision, so the one who sees ahead, not the one who's present in the moment, the one who knows, okay, well, we have to have the Lego packed up by 4:30 in order to get, I don't know, to our friends for 5, or get the pie on at 6:15 or whatever it is. Or I know today I've got to fit in this job and this errand run and this work call, and Johnny's going to need to sleep at 12:30, which means we're going to need to start their bedtime routine at 11:30, which means Claire's got to have whenever you are shifting and maneuvering and have a level of orchestration over a group of people, be they one other individual or multiple others, be they your children, colleagues, a workplace, or your partner, dare I say it, you are in a masculine energy art form. If you are in charge of where are we going and what are we doing and what are we going to do when we get there and how are we getting there and what are all of the moving pieces and here's the goals and here's how we're going to achieve them and here's who I'll call in and that's not good enough, it needs to be this way in order for it to be the right way. Your way's stupid, my way's the best. So if you are in charge of vision, forward focus, direction, purpose, mission, action planning, goal setting, goal achieving, leading others through activities, planning dates, this is your ways, Brooke, planning activities with your kids, planning what they're eating, when they're sleeping, how they're sleeping, planning and holding space. So remember, feminine energy, as we talked about yesterday, is energy. So if you are vibrating with energy, if you are in the present moment feeling more and more and more, and it's building and you can feel more and more and more and more, feminine. But if you are come here, baby, and let me listen, masculine. So you really want to understand that you're not getting feminine and masculine mixed up with the archetypal feminine as a journey and a transition phase and as a set of principles, because the mother archetype can certainly get out of balance if she doesn't have enough masculine. She'll give beyond her resources. But you also want to understand that if you are spending all day managing people as a CEO or projects or, whatever, visioning for business, or you are at home running a household and a gaggle of children, like me, I have 4, then you are also in masculine energy. So you just want to get a perspective on how much of my day am I dedicating or devoting to a little bit of feminine essence. Hello, Janine, I have arrived. I love it. So the reason I say that, problem solving too. So goal achievement and problem solving. If you're the problem solver, you're the one who sorts shit out. You're the master of space and time. You're the master of direction and vision and purpose and what's getting done next and how it's getting done, masculine. So you want to understand that, because if you've been living in your masculine for a really long time and you haven't created pockets for your own surrender and refilling, because remember the masculine empties. If you haven't read my book, that'll spell it out more clearly. Masculine empties, cools, soothes, empties. Think about mindfulness. Think about traditional yoga. Think about practices like, tapping an EFT, where you are moving away from feeling. You're cooling it, you're soothing it. Important skill set to have for your individuation and for your self-mastery. But equally as important is your feminine capacity to move into feeling, to bring it in and fill up, to bring up and turn up the dial and the volume, to feel more, to become sensory and open and in the present, not just trying to constantly empty and remove yourself from the feminine. Anytime we stop a feeling, we're suppressing the feminine. Anytime. So how many times do you think you suppress the feminine in your day? If you're holding space for little children, are your feelings the one that get met first? Or do you soothe yourself and cool it down in order to meet their needs? So you can see how the feminine can become quite shadowy. Every quality that we talk about forever, archetypes as much as with masculine and feminine energy, has binding and expanding qualities. All of them. So please don't put one on a pedestal and one in a pit, because you need both to be whole. You need both to be an individuated, well-adapted, competent, emotionally resilient human. If one is undernourished, you will automatically attract a partner of the overnourishment. Because remember, your 2 keys that fit. But come back to balancing boss and queen. So boss mode is what I will call your masculine energy, the one that drives, that penetrates, that's like this, now, this way, my way's the best. So you can hear my kids playing wildly in the background. My 3-year-old's a little bit cray today, so we'll see how this goes. Come back on board. They're outside my window. If I find that distracting, I will take a moment to close my blind. I just spazzed out into mum brain. Let me come back. All right, masculine energy, boss mode. So I want you to be able to have an extremely well cultivated masculine. I want you to be able to set goals and visions and targets and live the life of your dream. Yes, you have to have masculine to do that. Because if you don't have enough masculine energy, shit just won't get done. Remember that light from yesterday's live that just like disappears into nothingness because there's no container for it. It has to be a beamed focus. So you need masculine energy to get shit done. Yes, you do. And you want it. Having a well cultivated masculine is how I manage to be a stay-at-home mum to 4 children, how I manage 12 extracurriculars in a week and 2 different school pickups, and how I manage 2 businesses, The Pleasure Nutritionist and Nourishing the Mother. That's a well-cultivated masculine because I can compartmentalize, I can structure like a mofo, and I can set goals like a mofo. So when I have that vision, focus, goal, achieve, know where I'm at, structure allows your feminine. Now my masculine guard dog that's always like, are you getting it? Is it going to get done? The, like crazy mind space. Remember, masculine is like up and out. Masculine mind space, consciousness. Is this taken care of? Is this checked? Where are we going? What's going to happen in the future? How are we, all those things. By having that well scheduled, I can then go, and now let's play, right? So I will come back to your question, Nicole. Because when I step into my feminine, it feels so good. I'm learning to move out of my masculine while it comes easier. Yeah, totally. That's why we're all here having this discussion, because I think we'll all find that we are exactly the same. Because remember from yesterday's session, the feminine is generally going to be a harder place for you to find, because it's not something that we're acculturated into. It's not something we're trained or celebrating for emphasizing, and it's not something you're conditioning yourself with in your day-to-day life, and it's your day-to-day life that creates the huge shifts. So that's why it's harder. That's okay. That doesn't mean you can't find your way into ease, but it's going to feel a little bit clunky before it feels easeful. So back to balancing boss. So I want you to have an incredible masculine, because it is what will bring you to your purpose. But unless you balance that with your feminine and you allow your heart to yearn and whisper truths to you and offer you direction, and you allow your body to surrender open so that it can be a free-flowing river again, not a dam that's stagnant and like shit comes in and you just hold it, or maybe you let out dribbles as you're like trying to cool that shit down. More like the feminine that remembers she's a river born to flow. Stuff flows in, she might hold it in the river for a little bit as it moves through, and it flows out. And there's ecstasy with both. There's ecstasy in the in, and there's ecstasy in the out. The feminine is our capacity for bodily pleasure. So the degree that you experience bodily pleasure, or can experience bodily pleasure, is the degree to which your feminine is awakened at this point in time. So I want you to have goals, vision, focus, and purpose, but I want you to make sure that you are balancing that with your feminine, which is what we talked about yesterday. Because unless you balance your boss mode with your queen mode, feminine mode, you can see my little one's having a hard time. We've been out all day. All right, I think she's being looked after. What will happen is this. If you meet your partner in your masculine, remember masculine is a penetrating energy, feminine is a receiving energy. Masculine does and moves out, feminine receives, feels inward, right? Letting in, filling up, energy, fulfillment. Purpose, vision, getting shit done. If you meet your partner in your masculine, we talked a little bit about this yesterday, what will happen is either he's a really masculine being who loves to stay in his or her masculine, in which case you become two bucks fighting. Because masculine against masculine is like any animal kingdom in this world. You get to male dominant species, what are they going to do? They're going to fight for the strongest, and the weakest bows out and withdraws, right? So it becomes a battle of your masculine. Whose masculine is stronger? If yours is stronger, you'll win, he'll lose. Because that's what happens in the masculine. Win, lose, black, white, right, wrong, perfect, imperfect. He withdraws. And then you go, why'd you leave me? I feel so alone. I can't feel you. You're not connecting with me. We're not connected anymore. But you weren't in the energy of connection. You were trying to penetrate him. And he decided in that moment he didn't want to be penetrated by you. So he didn't let you into his feminine or her feminine. So repulsion. Energetic forces, right? Two of the same. Think of it like magnets. Have you ever tried to put two of the same in a magnet together and it's like, vroom, vroom, vroom. You can't make them no matter how hard you try. So true. Yeah. It's so cool when you see it though, isn't it? So either you bat heads, repulsion, or your masculine penetrates him, and in this moment, his energy goes feminine and he receives you. So he'll take up the feminine polarity. He'll be gentle and sensitive, maybe defensive and a bit bitchy, because the masculine rises through challenge. The masculine goes, I see you calling me out on my integrity or impeccability or my word as truth. And I have such a strong, masterful sense of myself. I am a king of this land. My purpose here is to provide freedom for myself and my people, whoever it is I'm looking after. So when I'm given feedback, I go, how can I rise and make this better? Because I'm the hero when I'm the king. I rise to challenge. I slay the dragon and I grab the golden fleece, which is you. That's how it works. If you have a man who does not have a well-cultivated masculine, or woman, which you may, if you have an exceptionally well-cultivated masculine, your partner will have an exceptionally well-cultivated feminine, irrespective of gender. Then they might get bitchy and defensive. Oh, I'm so hurt by that. How could you possibly? Oh, what a rejection of my heart. In all of its ways, right? They can't take on board the offering to rise. Now you can train that into them, of course, but that's where it sits. So either they're going to get really feminine and they'll be feeling more than you, and they'll be hurt more than you, and they'll be the nurturing, maybe a bit submissive, do what you want, go with the flow, because I have no balls in this moment because I'm in my feminine. And then you get annoyed that he's not man enough, or she doesn't offer you holding the way that you do. You get irritated by the fact that you're not being taken, and instead you're the one taking the other. You're the one holding the space, leading the way, coming up with the vision, the direction, and what we're supposed to do. They left on their own devices, they just wouldn't, would they? You have a partner as good at being in their masculine as you are at being in your feminine. You might need a minute to digest that. Under-surrendered women attract unpresent partners, because the level of feminine energy flow, I'm feeling, and you can read it on me. There's no guessing. There's no reading between the lines. There's no assumptions. There's no like, oh, this way. I don't know how to please you. It's like, seen, visible, clear. Not throwing it on you, which will be another one of our lessons. But I'm clear. You can read me. There's no guessing required. Then you attract a whole heap of presence. Masculine force is presence. Think about the way you hold space for your children or for a friend, perhaps for your partner. The more there's tears and emotion and rage and anger, think about the kids, the higher the extent, how much more present are you? The more your friend is hurting and blubbering on the phone, how much more present are you? The more there's energy, the more there's presence. So if his presence is wavering and shallow and a bit shit at the moment, then check your energy. Bet it's not flowing. So the level of your feminine equals the level of their masculine. And you always get to pick. Always. Do you want in this moment a husband or a wife? If I want a wife in front of me, then I'm going to be the king. I'll be the man. I'll play the masculine. I'll penetrate you and you'll love it. I'll tell you where we're going and what we're doing and how it's being done, and you'll love it. That might feel good sometimes. Might feel really good for your partner sometimes. But if I've had enough of doing that shit all day, and I want to be reminded of how woman I am and how taken I want to be, and I want to experience being desired for every part of me that doesn't show up during the day, and I want to be just a mum. I want to be ravished. I want to experience extreme chemistry and fuck me butterflies, like whenever I want to. So if I want to feel more, if I want to be penetrated and taken, then my masculine is not what gets me there. It's not what evokes that in him or her. So if I want a husband in front of me, if I want a masculine lover in front of me, then the degree that my lover shows up in his masculine or her masculine is the degree to which I show up in my feminine. Because the more open, inviting, feeling feminine I am, the more they're the equal and opposite. So how taken do you want to be in this moment? Not at all. Stay in your boss mode. Completely jump into your queen feminine. Right? I'm just jumping back on. Mary is so much more comfortable in your masculine. Yeah, I'm not surprised. That's what I hear most often. Carrie, I literally said those words weeks back. I don't feel connected to you. It's so good when you see it, isn't it? Because I think it allows you to go, oh, that's like a really normal experience of a natural law of nature, which means you totally have choice. And I find that really empowering. I don't find that defeating. I find that fascinating and powerful, and an opportunity to grow and become a better lover. And I find that exciting, intoxicating even. So cool seeing it and watching how it changes. Yeah, totes, it really is. How do you get to be in the feminine if you hold that the majority of the time? So it's like from yesterday's, rewatch maybe some of yesterday's live, Love Bite, because it was all about the feminine. It's about creating pockets where you hit that up. So to be able to access your feminine is just a muscle. Just like any muscle. I want to build biceps. I'm going to start with two reps or curls, and I'm going to build up to the heavyweight champion of the world, right? I mean, I don't know, but let's do a body weightlifting metaphor. If I want to be the heavyweight lifter of the world, I'm not going to walk over and pick up, I don't know, a 250 kilo bar without any training. So don't look at this and go, well, I'm not that. This is the culmination of years, if not a lifetime of learning. So now I teach it because I want you to fast track it, and I want you to get it, and I want you to get it faster, and hopefully without all of the mistakes that I made. That's why I'm teaching it, because wisdom is a mix of philosophy and lived experience that hopefully gives you knowledge. Right? Philosophy without lived experience really isn't any good, and neither is experience without philosophy. So this is a level of mastery with that. But that's why you choose to learn from people who are masterful in whatever you're choosing to learn from, right? You pick the people who've worked out the thing, so that you can fast track that and you can access and download and gain information from their wisdom, hopefully without having to move through all of the processes that they have to accumulate that wisdom. So it's a muscle. And I still think one of the most phenomenal weight training practices is the micro progressions. Micro progressions are what lead you to being a 250 kilo body weight lifter person of the world. It's the everyday micro progressions. If you know micro progressive training, it's like 500 grams a week or two. Tiny. So any micro progressive routine is usually a 2-year plan. But it's sustainable and it builds a strong injury-free body. So micro progressions of your feminine, small daily allotments of whole body pleasure, small and continuously 500 gram, micro installments at a time, opening greater feeling, greater sensitivity, greater sensuality. Those micro progressions turn into something profound. They turn into mastery. But there is no one way to get in your feminine, because your feminine is life force. That's why I talk about the feminine from all sorts of different ways, because it's literally life force of continuously creation and evolving. But the trick is, as long as it feels good, you're in your feminine. When it feels good, how do you feel it better? The end. You just get better and better at doing that. Or perhaps you get better and better at removing the obstacles in the way. I really don't think I feel comfortable in my feminine. Yeah, I have a whole section in my book dedicated to the ways that we reject the feminine. It's a real thing. The stories we're told, the ones perhaps we still carry in our DNA, the lived experiences of our grandmother and mother, of which we are part of, and it rides epigenetically in our DNA, if not deeper than that, because you were an egg inside your mother's womb when she herself lived inside her mother, your grandmother. You spent 5 months inside your grandmother, inside the ovary of your mother. Their experiences and life experiences will impact the way that you access the world. It's always very interesting to find out what stories they hold, and then to ask yourself if the stories are yours to begin with. Often they're not. And then, of course, we have our own lived experiences, and we have a culture that suppresses and denies and is deeply uncomfortable with the ferocity of the feminine, because there is no force greater in this world, right? Have we not seen that in 2020? If the force of the feminine really wants to give or take life, doesn't she? So it's terrifying. I get that. I think actually collectively we get that. Hence why she's been so suppressed for so long. So I always think those stories are more fascinating than anything else. I have not met a woman who doesn't, or man for that matter, who doesn't have feminine energy within them. If you're a human, if you are a soul, if you're part of an energetic equilibrium within this construction of a 3D or 5D world, wherever you want to play, you have both. The only thing that blocks you from doing that consciously is your own consciousness. And I find that fascinating. I think humans are infinitely fascinating, particularly the way that we show up in love. So recognizing that you're not comfortable in your feminine actually is the first step to going, I'm here to gain some mastery and open up what likely my lineage hasn't. And when you're a pattern changer, it's uncomfortable before it's comfortable, because there's no one who's trailblazed before you. There's no one who's made it safe. There's no one's path to follow. You're it. You're forging it. You're creating it. And that's an intense experience. Sometimes you'll find that relationships with family change because you are seeing the world differently, or choosing to. But the power of that is that because we're in a quantum, and I'll only give you a tiny bit, but because we're in a quantum world and everything is happening at the one time, the moment you change a pattern, it transforms forwards and backwards. So you're healing all of the women who have got as far as they can get with the life experience and available everything that they had in their lifetime that led to the next generation, and we're always trying to increase consciousness across generations, but the more we do that consciously, the faster it moves. So whenever you are a pattern changer and you change the pattern, it transforms it, it heals all of the women previously who are existing in this exact same moment through time. And it changes instantaneously what is possible for your daughters, for your sons, and for every son and daughter that comes after you. Is that not the most profound, incredible thing? I think it is. Sometimes I think if you're having trouble doing it for you, you need a why that's bigger. So do it for your kids. What do you want your son to treat his women like? How do you want him to see you, her, as she exists throughout the world? What type of relationship do you want them to end up with? Because they blueprint what they see in you, not what you say. So sometimes we need a why that's bigger than us to move us through the tricky bits. But I love seeing where I'm not comfortable. And I'm still finding edges where I'm not comfortable in my feminine. I don't think that there's a point at which you go, done. Don't have to worry about that anymore. I don't think there's a place you arrive. I think there's growth. This feels good. Growth. This feels good. Growth. I just think that's how it goes forever. But what happens is you gain more and more mastery and therefore more and more empowerment, and it becomes more and more fun the more you build that muscle. We were recording a podcast last night and I was talking on that about my niece. She's 25 and we spent some time at Christmas with them, and she'd just come back when I saw her one morning and she'd gone for like a 3K run and then a 5K paddleboard because we're near the ocean, and she was back drinking a smoothie, and I was like, do you like really enjoy that? And she's like, yeah, I love it. And I'm like, no, really? She's like, no, I love it. Like, how? Right? Because when you're learning, I'm wanting to increase my fitness. And when you're wanting to empower something and someone else is empowered in it, see what they believe, think, feel, how they see the world, and just adopt those beliefs. How? And tell me about that. How do you love it? And she said this fantastic sentence. She said, well, I think actually it's hard until you reach a certain level of fitness. And once you reach a certain level of fitness, it's just fun. And you want to keep doing it. And I was like, yeah. Okay, I see that. Because we all have fitness in different ways, right? I have a super fit relationship. And I have a super fit feminine. And I have a super fit parenting. They're just my top values. Yours will exist somewhere else. But when you're trying to empower something and bring it up, like me wanting to run, right? It's going to be painful and I'm going to hate part of it. I don't want to go to whatever. Who wants to go to the gym until they're super fit and they enjoy it? It's the same thing. Same thing with whatever you're learning. So just know there's a period of pain while you're shedding old beliefs, adopting and finding new ones, and then at some point it becomes easeful. That's mastery. That's growth. If it was already easy, you wouldn't be learning. So love that it's hard. It's supposed to be hard. It's supposed to be different. Who wants the same? All right, I'm catching up. Yeah, more comfortably feminine. Janine, I always say that I don't have a driven masculine that I can so easily step into feminine flow, but my drive and tenacity is easily broken. Yeah, but you're also in a job that requires a very strong masculine. So Janine's a paramedic. So that in and of itself says to me that you have a very strong masculine. You might just have compartmentalized it. So you might be very feminine in your relationship, and I would say that's well orchestrated by you, because you would have to be very masculine in your role. You couldn't be panicked and full of energy and feeling and emotion. There would have to be a level of detachment, soothing, rational, vision, purpose, focus, holding space for other people. It's a very, very, very masculine art, being a paramedic. So just see where you're both, and then you can apply your work skills to your love life, or wherever you perceive perhaps that it's breaking. Nicole, wow, so true. Since stepping into my feminine more, Luke has stepped up in his masculine without my even asking. Isn't that cool? I love that. Janine, however, when I look at the evidence, I can see in many ways my masculine gets shit done. It's a matter of cultivating it to serve me, a work in progress. Yeah, for all of us. For all of us. But that's okay. I don't think that, I just think it can always be this beautiful, I'm feeling unfulfilled right now, or a bit shitty and resentful. That's just my call for, I need more feminine. Okay. Doesn't have to mean anything. Everything's neutral till you attach meaning, right? For me, that's just the call of, too long any masculine, back you come. And I go, thank you, resentment. Here we are. Yes, I want to be penetrated. Why have I been avoiding it? You know, it's like when you have amazing sex and then you're like, oh my God, why don't we do this more often? It's the same thing. Same thing. Nicole, cannot hear this enough. I've done Queen School, it changed everything. Yet this is something I continually need to hear, remember, and be. Yeah. It's real power and purpose in continuing to be in a space that allows you to dip in and remember, right? Because the rest of the world wants us to forget. So how do you create it in such a way that you can, which is what you're doing. You're in Honey Club. Can you out-feminine your children? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. So if you had more energy, more emotion, more feeling in that moment than your children, they would become the masculine holding pole, which for those of you who have a wounded mother story, who perhaps you had a crazy ass mother or, crazy woman, or it was all about your mother, it was never about you, or she was always wild and unpredictable, then you will know that. She was a very feminine force, perhaps in shadow, but very feminine, or perhaps just not enough masculine. And therefore you took up the polarity of responsibility, of understanding how to handle her. She wasn't trying to handle you, you learned how to handle her, right? Of knowing how to get shit done or stay out of the way. So, yes, you can. It's not always going to be a bad thing, though, for those of us that are conscious parents and seeking to continuously hold space for our children. It's not a bad thing that they learn how to hold space too. Carly, Darren and I are so comfortable in our polarity, my feminine, his masculine, but at times I know he wants me to lead. He leads all day at work as I do. How do I do that and still feel feminine and sexy? I love that question. I love that. So it might look like you decide, what is it for me to, and I know that you love a bit of play, so I hope you don't mind me saying that. What is it for you to take on the role of more of a femme fatale or a dominatrix, or to enmesh in a deeply, I want to say it politely, but just give me a second to think about those words, because some people are going to be new to my shiz. I know you're not, but you know. I mean, you and I have had many conversations over the years about this. So as you know, the masculine requires a spectrum of energy. So as do we, right? We don't want to be just fed bangers and mash every day for the rest of our lives. We'd get really bored with that if that was just our stock standard dinner every single night. So we would look for where we could go get some hot spicy salsa. And that little Mexican place down the road does it incredibly. And we would look for where we could have a beautiful, soothing minestrone soup that feels like a warm hug from the other restaurant down the street or the cafe around the corner. And sometimes we want to just have a hard up, hot ass, smoky barbecue with a dark beer. And there's something so like carnivorous about it. And it's satiating, right? So variety is the spice of life. This is why in the feminine you want to understand your feminine and then learn how to play your scales, which I know you're playing with. So how do you make your leading feel sexy? Is that in your mind you decide how you want him or her to respond to you. So it becomes an energy play. I want to make you blah, blah, blah. Make, which is really an invitation or a leading into something, but there's this confidence that comes with particularly dark sexual play where you realize the feminine is so powerful that it can bend someone's will. And we know this, right? This is why the feminine also has been suppressed by men for so many years, because even in their most rational mind, there's something about feminine sexual energy that takes over and they can't control them or can't perceive. They lose themselves. So there's no force more powerful than that. So when playing with leading, I would ask you to play with what it is to experience a different spectrum and to play with your hunger and ferocity. And then flip halfway through or at whatever point feels good for you. It doesn't have to be this act is dedicated solely to me leading. It can look way more fluid than that. You might want to flip between leading and receiving, right? It's fluid. So you might have that verbally pre-agreed to, or that might just be a natural consequence of, because don't forget, once he's like had a toe dip in the feminine and he's like feeling totally replenished, that energy that he perceives he was missing will come back again, which changes the game. So does that answer your question? Shelley, or are you more a mountain? Hope that answered your question from before too. Juliet, you blew my mind when you said that parenting is a masculine practice. Yeah, I know, when that first happened, wasn't it? It's so interesting, isn't it? It's so interesting. I always in my mind play around with that. Something Julie said has stuck with me, continues to help and helps me with this. Even holding 30 seconds of something is better than 1 second of it, and it continues to build. Yeah, micro progressions, 100%, Nicole. Because that 30 seconds expands your nervous system tolerance and bandwidth for something. And every time you expand it, it doesn't shrink again. You've just expanded it by 30 seconds. Yay! Every time I'm able to listen to my children for another 30 seconds, yay! That's 30 seconds I won't have to do tomorrow, because I'll already be there before I hit another point, and then I add another 30 seconds. So where I might have started last month on being able to tolerate something for a minute, by the end of the month, I might be up to 10. Whereas micro progressions. Man, you've missed this. Oh, beautiful Janine. Hello, lovely Lorna. Oh, Mary, I'm glad it's magic. Amen to that, Carly. So I'm hoping that was all cool. Charmaine, his daughters. Was that your why? Nicole, yes. My half-sister grew with a mother that disliked men. We sat and chatted by the lake's edge and she was in awe of what I was expressing. Oh, that's so healing, isn't it? That's where I just think women are magic, right? Like that's... Imagine you take that energy of the feminine and imagine the circle of influence that has around you. I think it's profound. Amen to it all. Yeah. Carly, I have a super fit business. Makes so much sense. Yeah. Yeah. You'd love that so much. Cool, Charmaine. Love that it's hard, JT. Nicole. I think I'm in the period of pain, the hard bit, the shifting of beliefs and ways. Yeah, we're always doing that though. You know, there's a plateau when you've gone through one and it's like the rest and receive. I just get to enjoy the fruits of my labour. And then you grow again. It's being human. Shed and resentful, a place I visit often. Since meeting you, I've learned this is a gift and a hidden message. God damn it. Hey. Charmaine. Josh got home early. I switched into my feminine. He walked in, picked me up, threw me on the bed and gave me a leg massage. Shut up! My heart just exploded. That is amazing. Didn't even ask or consider that. No. Okay, so this is the thing with boss mode and queen mode, is that you don't have to say it. The feminine is a body and energy communication, where when your frequency that you're putting out is so precise, his radar just goes, oh, I know exactly how to respond to that, and you haven't said a fucking thing. If you're saying it from here, you're in your masculine. If you're saying it from here, you're in your feminine. Like, I love that you shared that because it's so beautiful for other women to see that that's possible. Carly, my biggest fear ever is that my daughter has a mother wound. Yeah, but you know, there's purpose. Our fuck-ups are as purposeful as our amazingness. As purposeful. Fuck, my mum was my best teacher. Fucking hated her for it. Now I can reconcile who she is. But best teacher. Wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now without her. So I chose that. I chose her. Your daughter has chosen you. For all of it. The light and the dark. One is not better than the other. Right? You need both. She needs both. So how you learn and grow is you know, it's the soup of life, for sure. You're both designed to help each other grow, yes. But that doesn't mean there needs to come with a sense of guilt or burden, because you're learning and growing just as she's learning and growing, and that's divine timing and perfect. And I think self-ownership and accountability goes a long fucking way. Like, it wouldn't matter if my mum all of a sudden grew that and turned around to me and said, you know, I'm really sorry for, and I really want to hear your experience of, and I'm going to hear it and be in your experience. And then I'm really sorry. How can I make that up to you? How can I do better? Or how can I see, hear and feel and witness that without having to get uncomfortable and shift through it? If she did that even now, right? 39 years on, I'd be like, forgiven. So what that's taught me is it's never too late, ever. And I fully expect and hope that my children build enough of a void, a pain, or hate me enough on something that it fuels their purpose, vision, and drive and self-individuation that is separate from me, because they have to. They have to. They can't be so thoroughly bonded to me and find themselves. So there's a beautiful dance between the two. And I'm never going to get it all right. So I've stopped being vigilant about it. I show up with the greatest degree of integrity and impeccability that I can in any one moment, knowing that wavers. And when I perceive that based on their feedback, my impeccability and integrity has gone missing, then my well-cultivated masculine comes to them to meet that, to receive that, to feel that, and to witness their experience so they don't need to carry it. That's healing. So, it was a parenting detour, wasn't it? Yeah, good, Nicole. Could become her biggest asset and catapult, 100%. Your mum's been one for you, yeah. Since your mother passed, you're thanking her for these wounds. They have been the source of your greatest drive, growth and change. 100%. Okay, we're still talking about the food from there. Oh, Charmaine, I love it when you're a gooey marshmallow. Carly, that's why he takes over at some point. When I do try and lead, I get confused, but I can just flow with that. I adore seducing him, but I think I let it go a bit in letting him lead. Yeah, it gets to be really fluid. Lol, my husband just walked past in his jocks asking if the camera was on. Dang it, I wish it was. I giggled and completely drank in his naughty innuendo. Heaven. Heaven. Go get him, Rex. Still one of the best ads ever, right? Yeah, Bron. Yeah, remember that was always the meme that I had on the back of my Facebook page. It was only seriously like last year that I got rid of it, and it was one of those memes of I plan on giving you all of the, you know, love, nurture, adoration, you know, all the things. I can't remember exactly what the meme was, and just enough dysfunction to make you funny. Appeals to my sense of humour. You needed to hear this. It was a great detour. I'm good. I'm glad. I'm glad. All right. Let me just check back in with my dot points and see what else have we got here. Because I feel like we have thoroughly deviated. But you know, I love a good deviation, but still we want to make sure we're getting it done, don't we? Okay. There's probably 2 points I do need to mention. I know that we are running over time and I wanted these to be digestible, so I'm going to try and smack them in. Emasculation. Point number 1. So emasculation really is a terminology. I don't know who it was coined by. It could be Alison Armstrong or it could be pre-her. I don't know. But really what it's referring to is when we cut the masculine as it exists, most particularly within men, but certainly within all of us, off at the knees. So the masculine is hardwired to provide. There is just nothing more magnificent for the masculine than providing. It feels wonderful to use all of this and offer it almost devotionally, to take care, to add to solve, to make better whatever the thing is that drive has gone towards. There's a huge sense of self-worth and self-esteem and core and spine that comes with that. So men are continuously looking to do that, men, masculine. So when we stop the provision, don't allow the provision, make our provision better, and we do that masculine thing of making them withdraw so that they disappear, they wither, they don't provide that continuous desire to complete, not the jack of all trades and the master of none. No. King energy, word is law, completes what they say they're going to within the time frame that they say. There's an impeccability and integrity that comes with their word that you can fully trust and surrender to. That's a well-cultivated masculine. When they're there, and they're solidly there, right? So when our masculine overtakes and says, no, not like that. Oh God, you're so annoying. Oh, I hate that you. Why can't you feel more? Really? You don't feel anything right now? No, because if they're feeling, they're in their feminine, and if they're thinking, they're in their masculine. So no, they're genuinely not. And if those of you have sons and you're curious about this, it's fascinating to me. I still like watching. I'm like, wow, really? You're just not feeling anything. It's like incomprehensible to me because I feel everything. But it's their truth. And it's part of what makes them magnificent at what they do. It's part of what makes the masculine so divine to be around. It's part of what allows you to be so fully in your feminine, right? You can't castrate and get rid of the thing that you say you want. That's like, what? What do you want, girlfriend? You want it or you don't? Because if you want it, it means trusting his direction. It means allowing him to do things. And they may not be perfect. And they may not be exactly the way that you would do it or the way that you would like it done. Because if it's perfect, imperfect, exactly the way you want it, that's your masculine. So whose masculine do you want right now, yours or his? I swim in a sea of suns. Yes, you do, Nicole. So it's great practice. So just be really careful, because any time you prevent his provision, you don't allow him to meet your need, you don't ask or don't have needs to begin with that he can fulfill. Anytime you stop him mid-act or, oh, you're so blah, 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 and don't allow him to do that rising, you're continuously suppressing his masculine, which means you're continuously building his feminine and continuously smacking down his masculine. And that, like the beginning of this call, is only going to go one of two ways. I would rather that we see a force in this world of men who are magnificent in all of their masculine gifts, who equally can love the feminine in all of hers and not ask her to change, but instead learn how to tussle. And in exchange, we see all of the ways that the masculine is different, but all of the ways that difference allows him or her to provide so magnificently for us, and that we love and celebrate that and find a way to roll with that. We just need to up-level our communication and it stops being a problem. So anytime you admonish the masculine traits and attributes and his attempts at serving you, meeting you, providing, completing, organizing, looking after the kids, cooking the meal, and you're like, it's not good enough, not done the right way, not like that. Oh, you think you can do it that way? Oh, you suddenly grew a spine? Oh, like... You want to cut away the man within a man? Then don't ask the man to rise. So yes, we can have very wounded masculine within a culture that is set up for the patriarchy. We can have both. So we don't end up with well-balanced, honourable, impeccable, divinely honouring masculine men. We end up with feminine or toxic because we've missed everything in between. So what is it to love, love the masculine? I love it. I love watching it just in the men or the masculine as it exists around me. Even in the most complicated of humans that I know, girlfriends or family have the most incredible, difficult time with. This is a festive time, right? Just watch. I love it. We were out the other night with a whole group of friends. We're sitting there and I was trying to open the lid of a water. I was clearly having issues. And I was about to pick up my skirt to try and do this. And I watched one of the men go, just give it to me. And I was like, huh. So in that moment I could go, no, that's okay, I've got it. In which case his masculine doesn't rise and mine stays intact, but not my feminine. Or I could go, that would be so beautiful, thank you. And he opens it, he feels good. He opened it for me. I can just really love the fact that I'm being cared for and looked after in this moment without even having asked. That's the beautiful masculine. Let's caretake. Let's look after. Let's protect. Let's nourish. And I can just say, thank you. That felt beautiful. Thank you. And it can be the tiniest thing, like opening a bottle top, right? Because it might be that today, but tomorrow it's going to be something bigger and better. And I can watch as I'm about to walk through a door and the man who was about to walk through with me puts his hand out and offers me to go first. I could go, oh, no, you go. Or I could go, look at that beautiful Shiva masculine. Thank you. I can just really enjoy being enjoyed. and say, thank you, that feels beautiful to be looked after. Through I go. Because I'm also saying to the universe, yes, more of this. I'll have more of that order, thank you. That felt amazing, yeah. Let's celebrate that and send it back out and go, yeah, that is the level I'm playing at. More of that. So it happens in micro ways, right? Tiny. But when you see it and then you see it and you see it and you see it and it builds and it gets bigger and you're like, look at you go. That is magic. And I really get to enjoy my own sense of being looked after, of having needs, of being cared for, which is often where we'll stop, of surrendering. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Keep doing it. Enjoy being enjoyed. Yes. Because the feminine loves to be the object of desire. The masculine loves an object of desire. Delicious, delicious. All right, we have gone on too long. This is like ridiculous, right? We're never going to get through the stuff I want to get through. The last point. I'm going to have to pick one. Hang on. The last point. I'm going to pick this one. Change starts with you. Not if, not when, not when he, not when the kids, not, well, if he would, then I would. Not waiting like a test for him to do exactly the right thing, to jump through exactly the right hoops in order for you to give a little. Change begins with you. You go first, the universe responds. It's a law of attraction. It's a manifestation. Are you all doing your manifestations in January and sending them out to the universe? Are you putting in your orders and saying, I want this? Or are you going, come on, universe. Bring me something I want, even though I've not told you at all what I want, and I'm not going to make a move until you've shown me. Bet you don't manifest what you want. You go first. Universal laws respond. What you put out, you get back. So stop waiting for somebody else to make a move in order for you to live your best life. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for your pillow to be fluffed exactly the right way in order for you to feel exactly the right way. You and your feelings are not at the mercy of anyone or anything outside of you. Ever. Period. So stop waiting. That is my last point. Nance, oh my God, I've just met a man that opens doors for me. I adore the feminine feeling. Isn't it delightful? And then often they'll come with this strong hand on the small of your back that kind of leads you through the door. Delicious. Just like, feel that. Always being beautifully called out, Megan. So perhaps you have not arrived late at all. So I will see you tomorrow again at 4:44. And that's what we're doing for the next 6 days, which is really exciting. So I really hope you get some really delicious, juicy content. If you would love to join Queen School, you can. I will pop the link to that within this. And Queen School begins on the 14th. It's 12 weeks with me in a relationship transformation container for 1222. Or there's a payment plan. So I would love for you to jump in. Couples do it together. People do it who are wanting to call in and learn how to love better to attract a better lover. And people do it who are wanting to change the sense of attraction, spark, relationship that they feel bogged in at the moment. So come join. We would love to have you. It's a pretty incredible container. And if you're really ready to take mastery of your masculine and feminine and really evoke something in your partner or the one you call in, then it's definitely the place for you. So can check it out at julietanner.love/Queen School. Or I will drop the link. And I will see you tomorrow at 4:44. Thank you for being here.